why your retirement plan might already be doomed. For decades, this was the promise. You gave a company your career, and in return, they gave you a secure retirement for life. A monthly check, guaranteed. But what happened to that promise? It was broken. A silent financial time bomb set 4 decades ago has made that kind of retirement a fantasy for most people. Your future was sold out from under you, and this is the hidden story of how it happened. Chapter 1. The Promise. Let's rewind to the post-war era. For a huge part of the American workforce, retirement wasn't a question mark. It was a destination. The system was built on something called a defined benefit plan, which we know today as a traditional pension. The concept was simple and powerful. The risk was on your employer, not you. They contributed to a fund, they managed the investments, and when you retired, they paid you a predictable, steady income for the rest of your life. It was like a paycheck that never stopped. You knew what you were getting, and you could build a life around that certainty. This wasn't just a spreadsheet calculation. It was a social contract. It created stability for families and entire communities. It was a pillar of the American dream, the reward for a lifetime of hard work. In 1975, over 27 million private sector workers were active in these pension plans, trusting that the companies they helped build would take care of them. But while they were on the factory floor and in the office, the whole system was being quietly re-engineered. Almost no one saw it coming. Chapter 2. The Switch. The time bomb was planted in 1978, hidden inside a dense piece of legislation called the Revenue Act. Tucked away was a provision, Section 401, subsection K. For 2 years, it sat there, and nobody paid it much attention. It wasn't some grand design to reinvent American retirement. The man who accidentally lit the fuse was a benefits consultant named Ted Benna. In 1980, he had a creative interpretation of this obscure tax code. He realized it could be used to create a new kind of savings plan, where employees could contribute their own money, pre-tax, into a special account. He actually designed it for a client, but they got cold feet. So his own company became the first to adopt it in 1981. Benna thought he was creating a supplement, something to sit alongside the guaranteed pension. He had no idea he'd just created the monster that would devour the entire system. Corporations saw a golden opportunity. Pensions were expensive and unpredictable for their bottom line. The 401k was a way out. They could replace a defined benefit, where they guaranteed the payout, with a defined contribution plan, where they only had to define what, if anything, they put in. And just like that, the risk, all of it, was transferred from the corporation directly onto your shoulders. The shift was swift and brutal. Companies began freezing their pension plans, cutting off new employees and stopping benefits from growing for existing ones. Then, they just started terminating them altogether. In 1975, 27.2 million private sector workers had a pension. By 2019, that number had plummeted to just 12.6 million. In that same time, participation in 401k-style plans exploded from around 11 million to over 85 million. The promise of a guaranteed retirement paycheck was replaced by a lump sum of money that was now your problem, and your problem alone, to manage. Your future was no longer backed by your employer. It was hanging by the thread of the stock market. Chapter 3. The Fallout. So what are the consequences of this great risk shift? A nationwide retirement crisis that is now an undeniable reality. First, just look at the savings. The numbers are terrifying. Recent studies show the median retirement savings for those on the cusp of retirement, from ages 55 to 64, is only about $185,000. Yet, what do retirees say they actually need? Some recent estimates put that magic number over $800,000. That is a staggering gap. It's no wonder that a recent poll found 79% of Americans agree we are in a retirement crisis. Second, you were handed a second, unpaid job, professional investor. You're now expected to navigate complex investment choices, rebalance portfolios, and figure out withdrawal strategies. All things that used to be someone else's full-time job. But this do-it-yourself system is filled with traps. One of the most insidious is fees. In recent years, there has been a surge of class action lawsuits against 401(k) plans for excessive fees. These suits allege that plans are charging outrageous record-keeping and investment fees that slowly bleed your account dry over decades. While these lawsuits have resulted in billions of dollars in settlements, for many, the damage is already done. Third, there's the silent killer of savings, inflation. It's the gradual erosion of your purchasing power. Money that seems like a lot today will buy far less in 10 or 20 years. The high inflation of recent years was a brutal wake-up call, with one study showing 73% of Americans said it made them more concerned about their retirement. A simple 3% inflation rate will cut the value of your money in half in about 24 years. The average length of a retirement. The system has been fundamentally engineered against you. You are given all the risk, none of the training, and a vehicle riddled with hidden costs, all while wages stagnated and the cost of living soared. This isn't a personal failure. It's a systemic one. Chapter 4. The Path Forward. This all sounds bleak, because it is. But despair is not a strategy. Understanding how the game is rigged is the first step to learning how to play it. The old rules are broken, but there are new ones. First, we have to throw out the outdated advice. The most famous is the 4% rule, which said you could safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year. But that rule was born in a different era. Updated research from Morningstar for 2025 to 2026 suggests a truly safe rate is now closer to 3.9%, a small but meaningful change. But the biggest danger isn't just how much you withdraw, but when. It's called sequence of returns risk. If you're unlucky enough to retire right before a big market downturn, and you keep withdrawing from a shrinking portfolio, you can permanently cripple your nest egg. Studies show that many retirement failures happen because of bad market returns in just the first 5 years. This is where smarter, more flexible strategies come in. Instead of a fixed withdrawal, financial planners now recommend dynamic models. One is the guardrails strategy. You set a target withdrawal rate, but you create a buffer. If the market soars, you can take out a little more. If the market crashes, you temporarily cut back your spending. This flexibility can allow for a much higher starting withdrawal rate, potentially over 5%, because it protects you from selling your assets at the worst possible time. Another popular method is the bucket strategy. You divide your money into 3 pots. A cash bucket for 1 to 3 years of living expenses, a medium-term bucket with safer investments like bonds for the next 5 to 7 years, and a long-term bucket of stocks for growth. This ensures your immediate needs are met without being forced to sell your stocks in a panic. These strategies give you back a measure of control that the 401(k) system tried to take away. The retirement promise was broken, but your future doesn't have to be. That guaranteed retirement of our grandparents' generation is gone. It was the victim of a huge financial experiment that shifted all the risk onto your shoulders. You were handed a volatile investment account and told to do it yourself, while hidden forces chipped away at your savings. The anger and anxiety you feel about this are justified, but the answer isn't to give up. It's to get smarter. It's to understand that the old rules no longer apply and to adopt flexible strategies that protect you from the system's built-in flaws. It's about taking back control in a system that tried to strip it from you. The time bomb is still ticking, but by understanding exactly how it was built, you can learn how to defuse it. If you want to keep learning how to navigate this broken financial system and take back control of your money, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing our video. God bless us all.